Everybody that knows me knows I love cartoons and animation. Like, the amount of time and money I spend looking for physical copies of shows is just getting sad. I'll talk for hours about a show if you don't shut me up. Hell, the reason I started this channel is so I could talk about my favorite shows. Well, that and I have a weird need to make sure people know that I know about shows that aren't popular yet so I can go, I knew about this before it was cool. But that's neither here nor there. But I grew up with cartoons, dude. From watching The Magic Pudding and helping with fish as a kid because for some reason my mom just wouldn't get Disney movies. Side note, have you guys ever seen The Magic Pudding? That movie's weird as hell. I gotta make a video on it at some point, or at least see a therapist about it. So weird. And being dangerously obsessed with Ben 10 after watching it with my dad since he was the only one that had all the good channels. Like, I literally had a mental breakdown on my brother's birthday when I was like 4, because we went to Toys R Us and I needed to get that Omnitrix toy. To watching Dick Figures with my best friend and staying up all night to binge old MTV shows like Undergrads and Clone High. The point is, cartoons are a huge part of my life, so obviously I've got a lot of favorites, but I'd say the one show that stands out from the rest is Mission Hill.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Mission Hill, to me, is easily the most charming and relatable show I've seen in a long time. Pretty much every episode was something I've either done or I'm going through right now. It's such a great show, I can't stress enough how much I recommend it if you're an aspiring artist like me. Andy French is probably one of my favorite characters in a cartoon. He and his brother Kevin are just like me for real. I feel like that's why I like a lot of those late 90s, early 2000s shows like this, Downtown, and some other third thing. They really capture that early 20-year-old chill vibe that I haven't seen in any show nowadays. Look, if this crummy video convinces at least one person to watch Mission Hill, it'll be a win in my books, because I honestly think that this is one of the realest shows that you haven't seen. Created by Bill Oakley and Josh Weinstein, at the beginning of the show's production, Mission Hill was originally going to be called The Downtowners, but around the same time, MTV's series Downtown caused a name change. Great show, by the way. Keep an eye out for a video on it.
And set course for the booty quadrant. Engage.
I'm glad they changed the name because honestly, I don't really like The Downtowners, and Mission Hill feels like a much better fit for the show. The show went through a couple different designs before production. The first design was massively different from the final show. The characters had a much more exaggerated and almost rubber hose appearance, with oversized heads and unconventional proportions. Then as the show evolved, the character design shifted to a more relatable and realistic style. I think what they landed on was a perfect middle ground between realism and being overly cartoonish. Mission Hill first premiered on the WB network September 24th, 1999. It was originally developed for Fox, but dealt with a lot of production delays and schedule changes, so only 4 of the 13 episodes aired on Fox, before the network decided to cancel it. But with a huge following and fan support, the show got brought back by Adult Swim while the rest of the episodes aired. The show centers around Andy and his younger brother Kevin, who moves in with him from the suburbs to the city. Andy's a 24-year-old slacker and aspiring cartoonist in his third post-college chill year, working in a shitty waterbed store with an even shittier boss. His brother Kevin is a nerdy overachiever in his late teens who's struggling to adjust to his new life in the city and dreams of going to Yale. Most of the episodes deal with standard problems that most people deal with in their day-to-day life, like fighting over girls, adapting to living somewhere that you're not used to, and unemployment. The show takes place in Mission Hill, obviously, which I'm pretty sure is based on Boston, near where one of the show's creators, Bill Oakley, went to college. If the name Bill Oakley sounds familiar to you, it's because he was a writer for The Simpsons and wrote some of the best episodes, like Homer's Enemy and my personal favorite, Who Shot Mr. Burns. The show has a perfect blend of typical slice-of-life plots and more cartoony stories mixed in. Speaking of cartoony, Mission Hill uses a lot of really creative effects, like using old sound effects, or when a character's drunk having bubbles float around their head, or when Andy's pissed off having him stare literal daggers at people, which I really like. I think my favorite episodes are the ones that focus on Andy as an artist, like in Andy Gets a Promotion, where Andy has to choose between a higher paid role at his job as his boss's assistant, or his dreams of being a cartoonist. There's a lot of little bits in episodes that really speak to me too. For example, his neighbor Carlos is a successful painter, and Andy sometimes compares himself to him, which I seriously get. Seeing other people close to you doing a lot better than you can kind of stand.
You're lucky. I just came from a gallery. Hey, they love my stuff.
Great, but how does that make me lucky?
Oh, I meant I'm lucky. Sorry.
Or, and as of right in this video, this one hit especially different. In Unemployment Part 2, where Andy's in an elevator and overhears people talking about how you need to be successful in your career by your mid-20s, which hit pretty close to home for a dude like me. Like, I'm an unemployed wannabe artist in my 20s who dreams of being a cartoonist as a career, but I'm a lazy piece of shit, so as of right now, the train's going nowhere, and honestly, that's kind of scary. And I think that's why Andy as a character really resonates with me, why I have such a soft spot for this show.
Listen to me, Kevin. I am not talented and my cartoons are not great. They suck. I suck. I suck. I suck. I suck.
I think my favorite episode's gotta be the last one of the series, I Married a Gay Man from Outer Space, where Kevin bonds with his neighbor Wally, who runs the theater in Mission Hill, over old movies and finds out that he directed a movie that was pretty bad. But we find out the movie was only so bad because Wally made a bunch of changes for his husband Gus, who he made the star of the movie when he met him and fell in love with him. I love this episode. It's honestly so sweet, and outside of Andy, Gus and Wally are my two favorite characters in the whole show. They're such a great couple, they feel so real and work so well together. Did you know that they had the first gay male kiss ever broadcast on television and won an award from GLAAD for its positive portrayal of a gay relationship?
You condoms. What's wrong with our regular brand of condoms?
Nothing, but these were on special, that's all.
You cheap gay bastard! These things are gonna fly right off!
Something I really like about this show is that the characters that live in the apartment building feel so close. They say hi to each other, help each other out with shit, and they all hang out together. You can tell that they're all really good friends, and it just feels so warm and charming. I don't know, maybe the bar's super low for me because all of my neighbours, without fail, have been extremely shitty. All the characters in the show feel so real. They're not just side characters for the main characters to bounce off of. They've all got their own unique personalities and stuff going on. Honestly, you could probably take any of the other characters and give them their own spin-off show, and it would still be really fun to watch. The art and animation in Mission Hill is great. I honestly think it's got one of the most unique art styles I've seen in a show. At the time, it was one of the last hand-painted shows, and it still looks great. I said earlier about the visual gags and the little effects they use, but I really can't stress enough how much I like them. The bubbles that show up above people's heads when they get too drunk are especially fun. When I first watched the show like 4 years ago, I remember thinking that the sound effects were kind of grating for some reason, but after several rewatches, they've really grown on me.
Ow, 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 ow! Boys!
The colour in the show is great too. I love the bright, almost neon colours they use during the day and how drastically it changes to show its night. The backgrounds in the show feel so nostalgic for me too. With how the colour sometimes overflows out of the lines, it really reminds me of something, but I can't put my finger on it. While I was writing this part of the video, I got really sidetracked because there's a looking through and admiring the backgrounds. I don't know how to explain it, but this show just looks like how living in a city in your 20s feels. They really caught that urban city vibe, and there are so many little details that make it feel like a real place that you'd want to live. Sadly, due to the constant changes in schedule and lack of promotion, seriously, I only found like one commercial on YouTube, and that's the only marketing of the show I've seen. The show had really low viewership numbers, which led to him dropping the show. Even after the last few episodes played on Adult Swim, the show couldn't be saved. There were plans for a few more episodes, and you can find the animatics on YouTube for a couple of them. And in 2020, Bill Oakley and Josh Weinstein were pitching a spin-off about Gus and Wally. But sadly this year, Oakley confirmed that it got rejected, which sucks because I really wanted to see how it would have turned out. Despite the show's short run, Mission Hill has a really special place in my heart. It's funny, it looks great, and it somehow fills me with a sense of nostalgia for a time I was way too young to even remember. The show's relatability is like a reminder that the struggles and good times of early adulthood are a universal experience that everybody has to go through. I wouldn't say that this is a show that seriously got me into wanting to be a cartoonist, but I don't know dude, it definitely set something off in me. I can't stress enough how much you should watch this show. Seriously, it's one of the greats.
Toby? Toby? Toby?
Penis, 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 penis.
Quick little update, well, not really an update, but just an idea of something I'm probably going to do on the channel at some point. This, first and foremost, is a channel where I want to talk about cartoons. That's what I've always wanted to do, and that's not going to change. But I also want to branch out and do something else I've always wanted to do for years. A few years back, in say 2021, I wrote up a silly little draft for my very own fandom DC Cinematic Universe. Like, I didn't go too deep into it, I just made up 5 phases, an idea of what I want my first few movies to be. And obviously it wasn't going to go anywhere, just some dumb fun. But now I have a platform like 5 subscribers, I thought maybe I could do a series on the side where I give my ideas on what I'd want to see in a cinematic universe. It's also just a dumb little writing exercise for me for something else I've wanted to do for a long time, but that's not going to be for a while. So yeah, get ready for that at some point, maybe not, unless I get burnt out and decide not to bother, that'll probably be the case. I'm working on an Adult Swim ranking video and I'm guessing that's going to take some time, so this wouldn't be for a while, so look out for that as well. Well, that's pretty much all I've got for this one. I had a lot of fun making this video, probably because it was a good excuse to rewatch Mission Hill, but it's also something sort of personal to me, so I might start making a lot more like it. The only 2 cartoons that come to my mind right now are MTV's Good Vibes and Beavis and Butthead Do America, but since that one's a movie, I want to take a lot more time with it, and I've got a ton of memories with that movie, but I'll get into that in the actual video. I'm getting sidetracked, so I'm going to end it here. Like and subscribe or whatever, do what you want, I'm not your dad. Anyway, thanks for sticking around, and I'll see you guys in the next one.